Well, hello once more and welcome to RMTV, the union's channel that brings RMT members up and down the country up to date with the issues affecting their industries. We're joined today by the union's General Secretary, Bob Crow. Bob, if we can start with Network Rail, union's been locked in discussions with the company for some time. Can you bring us up to date on what's been happening?
Well, there's two issues really. Without getting into the nitty-gritty, because it's been dealt with under ACAS. It's not because it's been kept secret by any stretch of imagination. But you never reach a final position with ACAS until you actually come out the door at the end of the discussions. So at this moment in time, there's been an whole range of negotiations going on the infrastructure side. Further talks taking place this week and next week with a view of trying to get a final document. And can I stress, the final document, whatever happens, when we do get it, it will go in front of the Executive Committee. And we've got union policy as well that before any document is signed off, it will have to go to the members in the form of a referendum. Now, we're not even in a situation yet where we've got the final document, so talks are progressing. It's taken some time, but the reality is these are crucial issues to deal with. It's our members' rostering parameters. They want to know how many weekends they're going to have with their family, how many nights they're going to be working. They've got childcare. They want to know what their earning levels are going to be. We want to know the position regarding the guarantees and no compulsory redundancies. So all that's been discussed on the infrastructure side. On the Network Rail operational side, further talks yesterday, myself, the President, Alan Tyrrell, the Executive Committee member, and Dougie Hill, the National Company Council rep, was in attendance. Phil Borman, the other Company Council rep, was unfortunately on leave. Progress was made. In fact, there was quite substantial progress made on the issues of T3 and on the question of rostering. The question of the promotional transfer, redundancy and resettlement issue is still ongoing. All I can say on this is that there has been a statement issued by us today, which has been issued by ACAS, which sums up basically where we are. And we hope to have further discussions within the next fortnight. And once again, before we reach any conclusion, it will go in front of the Executive Committee, and also we'll be speaking to the area Company Council reps to ask them their views.
Bob, if we can turn now to London Transport, two disputes going off there. Firstly on Tubelines, could you explain the situation there? Strike action coming up.
The first strike we got there is on Tubelines, is a 3-day strike starting next Wednesday from the 23rd onwards. What we've got into a situation is that the company, who are owned by a magnitude of a number of big companies, have given up their contract from the 1st of July, and it will return back to Transport for London. Can I stress, not London Underground, but Transport for London. So it'll be a subsidiary company for Transport for London. It won't be part of the London Underground subsidiary, which makes a bit of a nonsense really. However, it's back under the umbrella of Transport for London, which is better than it remaining in the private sector. A whole range of job losses have been announced by the company, and we want an undertaking that the agreements that we've got in place with Tubelines, which was carried forward when the public-private partnership first was initiated some 8-9 years ago, was that everyone will be offered a job, and secondly, we want to guarantee there'll be no compulsory redundancies. We haven't got those assurances yet, and as a result of that, we're in dispute. The second part of the dispute is the pay offer, because on London Underground, they all received 4.2%, and the Metronet workers that were part of London Underground, which was another company that was in the private sector that went bankrupt and come back in, have been given 4.2%. They're offering our members, who will be working alongside other London Underground employees from the 1st of July, 3.7%, and offer them an extra 0.5% so long as they give up some severe productivity measures. We're saying, as far as we're concerned, we want the 4.2%, and we also want an undertaking that any offer that's made to any other union, which is better than the one that's been offered to us, then we'll get the same as well. The company couldn't deliver on our demands, and as a result of that, that 3-day strike will start. However, there will be further talks with the company this Friday, and we're going in there in a productive way to try and see if we can resolve the dispute.
And at the same time, there'll be industrial action on the Docklands Light Railway over the introduction of the third carriage. Could you explain some of that, please?
Yes, dispute starts next Wednesday, 3 days as well, same days as Tubelines, different times, but the same times for the dispute. This is over the company have put on an extra carriage, which we welcome, but it's extra responsibility for the train captain and the passenger assistants that work on the trains, because they have to check the tickets and also they have to do regular checks walking up and down the carriages. There's more work involved, it's more intense, and we're asking for some recognition for the fact that our members have got a bigger responsibility and they're going to be working harder, that some kind of recompense is made. The company won't come across with anything, and as a result of that, the dispute goes ahead. There are discussions taking place under the auspice of ACAS today and tomorrow, and once again we'll be looking for a resolvement. However, we wouldn't have had the company sitting down talking to us if it wasn't for our members being prepared not only to vote for action, but prepared to take action as well.
Well, of course, now we've got a Conservative government in place, and obviously worrying implications for public services across the piece. How should the Labour movement respond?
Well, it's a Tory Liberal government, which basically is a Tory government. So your question was actually right, Derek. But the reality is it's as we call it, a condemn government, Conservative, Liberal Democratic condemn government, who the other day, the Transport Secretary said that the railways in Britain were 50% expensive, and there needed to be cuts in all areas of transport life or more efficiencies. Now, we're all in favour of efficiencies, but the kind of efficiencies that we want is that when someone turns up for a train in the morning or waits for a bus stop, a bus or a train comes along. That's the kind of efficiencies that we're looking for. They're looking for physical cuts to services. And if you look at for the Campaign for Better Transport's report this morning, it will mean that what they're basically looking for is 7% cuts in all bus services. And what we're looking at is fares to rise rather than 1% above the rate of inflation, 3% above the rate of inflation, which will mean over 10 years, if you look at the culminated figure, fares could increase by real terms by over 35%. At the same token goes, they'll be looking to axe services which are crucial. And the services they'll be looking for will be first of all, will be the early morning trains, the late night trains, the ones that ain't so profitable, but people demand and need them and necessitate them because they have to visit people in hospitals, have to visit their loved ones. So what we're really going to see in all walks of life, whether it be buses, rail, shipping, a real cutback now to the amount of expenditure that the government intends to put into the transport network. What we've had is a situation where we've been told that policies were, over the previous 10, 15 years, to get people out of their cars and onto public service to stop the environmental carbon emissions that are taking place. Now, what's going to happen, if the fares go up high and services are cut, people now get back off the trains and back in their cars and will start causing the environmental and damaging carbon emissions again. So it's a bit of a nonsense taking place when you may cut back financially to a transport network, but the cost of the environment is billions upon billions of pounds, and in fact what it does, it causes long-term environmental damage. So we'll be looking very closely to what George Osborne's got to say in his budget next week. We'll be looking very closely at the ongoing spending review, and obviously what we'll be saying, like we do everywhere else, is we don't believe that workers should pay for the crisis of the bankers, and we're not accepting compulsory redundancies, and we're not accepting pay freezes, and we're not accepting pay cuts, and we will do everything to defend their members.
And the threat to jobs, to public services and public service workers' pensions is across the board, so obviously a united response from the trade union movement is what's required.
There was a US congressman called Robert Reich who turned around about 10 years ago and said, when the word efficiency is mentioned, hold on to your wallet. And it's exactly what this means. This ain't about improving services or making things run quicker. We're all efficient people. We like to see a more efficient network for everyone. This is about cutbacks to wages, to conditions, to pensions, and every walk of life. And we will make it absolutely clear as a trade union that we intend to defend our members' jobs, We're not going to accept compulsory redundancies. We're not going to accept cuts to our members' terms and conditions. And we don't see the reason why workers should pay the price. And that's the reason why all trade unions now and community groups should link together to form one big movement to stop these austerity cuts that are planned amongst the British workforce.